Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Barak the. So, out here another week, prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great, America, and getting into prophecy that's taking place. As we know, H.R. 6666 has been in effect, and what they're doing with it is they're just trying it out in different cities and different counties and different areas. But make no mistake about it, that thing had passed without anybody really knowing, and they just are testing it in series. Like Marced now has actually been enabling that, and in fact those that are on the government checks are now being threatened that their check's going to stop if they don't take a COVID-19 test. So all residents of Marced are now subject to take a test, under the COVID-19 test. But if you should test positive, they're going to take your kids from you, put them in temporary foster care. So, pretty much, man, it's another forced condition, under the Contact Tracing Act, which very much so got passed, without anybody even being able to see it. Then you got other things that have been going on as well, as false flags in Syria and Iraq in particularly, saying that, militants, aka the Iran Revolutionary Guard, had fired upon the U.S. base. Had fired rockets there when really, truly, though, we know it's them terrorist groups, set up to create a false flag so they can blame Iran for it, because of course things are spiking in the Middle East. That's the hotbed, better known as the Valley Yehoshaphat in the scriptures. So the Most High is mustering up all the hosts of battle, as you can see. And, of course you don't really get to see it on the mainstream, though. You have to find it alternatively. But we know that the CDC runs all news organizations, including Syria News and Press TV, pretty much. So we know that Esau's in charge of all of these things, and that's why all nations have to go along with the coronavirus hoax, even though there is no coronavirus, but they have to do that, because of course, Esau controls everything, he holds all the government places. It's the people that don't know what the government's doing because they're sheeple, and they believe that these leaders really represent them when they are only pawns in the Ponzi scheme known as the Rothschild, the Illuminati, and they're the 1% that are controlling everything. But a lot of people are well aware of that. There's warrants for Bill Gates' arrest. He's banished from India and now Italy, so pretty much if he enters those countries, he'll be arrested. A lot of people are standing up to them, so you got seditions among men, you got Egyptian against Egyptian, you got seditions among men, things just keep on breaking out, especially in the state of Michigan, where a haircut, the barber, who had lost his license because he decided to go ahead and practice during the mandatory lockdown. And they took his license away, because the people stood up for him. Now they actually did a newer protest, an armed protest with haircuts. They call it the haircut revolution or something like that. Don't know the exact words for it, but nonetheless, though, you got sedition among men. They aren't giving any regard to their kings nor princes, and the scriptures tell us about those things, so we're seeing more and more of that, as well as more and more hosts being gathered to the battle, Gomer and all his bands being drawn in, Magog being a guard unto them, so pretty much, though, the tyrannical tyrant has been been checkmated by Magog. So pretty much, though, and that's on the grand scale of things, they're all still part of the secret club. Well, not so secret anymore. Everybody knows who the Illuminati is, who the Rothschilds are. They have a club and you're not a part of it. But, there's still people think, though, that Joe Biden is really different than Donald J. Trump. They're both the same puppets. They both want the same thing, the New World Order. But a lot of people are made to believe, though, that Trump is really on their side, telling people to protest against their governors, and that Trump is pretending to be on their side when he's the one that caused the insurrection to begin with. He's the one that declared the national emergency, and at that point, FEMA took over, once the national emergency had been declared. So FEMA's the one that's really running shit. These governors that are put in place, they're just doing what FEMA is asking. So FEMA Region 9, now they're talking about reopening the gyms next month, as well as other things, with the social conditioning rules. Oh yeah, social distancing rules will always be in effect, that's a forever thing, But, they're going to keep on using the HR 66 bill, 6666, and they'd just be doing it on a low scale until they finally, make it mandatory that everybody gets the vaccine. And eventually, what they're going to do is they're going to dwindle away the old system. We already know, if you've been watching the Atlantis Report, which I forward on my channel a lot, you already know, though, that it's really all about bringing in a digital dollar and digital wallet, And, well, we know that Trump is part of the banksters. I mean, think about it. Trump Hotel, part of the yuppie ghetto, as David Peel called them. So the yuppies, the 1%, they have their ghettos, the yuppie ghettos, because, of course, they consider themselves above the rest, because, of course, like everything else, though, and I'm just talking about the puppet part of it, people like Donald Trump and others, they're just part of it. They're part of that secret chambers. I mean, we all know, though, that, Jacob Rothschild is the one that really rules the world, and everybody else just pawns the scheme, and that David Rothschild will be the successor. And isn't that interesting, that David Rothschild is the spitting image of Caesar Borgia, And, you got a lot of deceptions going on, and that's why I'm glad that Apostle Tahar always deals with these other things going on, that you got other camps saying that Caesar Borgia is the image of the beast. But a painting of Caesar Borgia doesn't cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive that mark. Now, does it? The image of Caesar Borgia doesn't cause everyone that would not worship to be killed. You don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be into Christianity. There's many atheists out there, and they're into the other religions. So that's not the image of the beast. Nah, the image of the beast is the New World Order. Pretty much. Those that don't conform to the New World Order should be killed. And that's what causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. The New World Order. Hey, man, they actually put it out there in plain English. George Bush told you that a New World Order would merge out of this. He was the first president to really speak of it, even though it's still on the back of your dollar bill. But he was the first to speak of it, that a New World Order could merge, that the rule of law, not the rule, of land, would merge from this, and that these peacekeepers would ensure peace, which are your troops, the UN Army after next, troops, FEMA. Well, who do you think's running shit? FEMA, CDC, they control everything, man. And this fake pandemic, though, it has gotten everybody convinced, though, that they're more afraid of catching a virus, which the symptoms are pretty much a flu virus, maybe as far as a pneumonia, but that's what they tell you. So anybody that's got influenza, though, is going to show positive for COVID-19. So, they're going to make the things mandatory now. Taking a test is not the same as taking a vaccine, but nonetheless, though, see how he's conditioning you? That, okay, in order to receive benefits, I better take this test. But we know that those tests are rigged. And, pretty much, though, that's what happens. So, our hour of temptation is coming up, Some of us will be tried, brought before court, 10 days. And a lot of us may have to be beheaded for our testimony, We might lose our heads over this. We might be killed for refusing to capitulate to the New World Order, a.k.a. worship the image of the beast, that those that would not worship should be killed. Because that's what worship means. Worship means to conform. In the essence of the scriptures dealing with that. So if you don't conform to the New World Order, you will be killed. And that's how he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark. But you also got Vocab Malone, you know, which, again, you know, he's done a piss poor job. But nonetheless, though, he's using Jake to do it because, of course, you know, trying to argue against Revelation chapter 1, he's failed to do so. So, you know, now, you know, they've set him up to say that the tribe of Yehoiada was never in Africa. And you can't, and these people can't account for anything prior to a couple hundred years ago, so of course they never heard of the kingdom of Weda, you know? So, or people that were of the kingdom of Yehoiada. It was a nice try, and the way he's doing it, though, is trying to get Jakes to testify against. Well, 2/3 of our people don't want to be known as Yashala. They would rather be a Gentile, you know? They'd rather that Esau pretends to be the Jew, and they are not, you know? And so this synagogue of Satan, the Illuminati, the Zionists, you know, have conditioned our people even, you know, 2/3 of our people to want to still have that slave mentality, to be their slave, you know, to accept them, even though there's nothing righteous about the Amalekite, you know, they don't hold any of the laws. And hey, my dad was married to an Amalekite, and I can testify to this. They eat pork, they eat shrimp, they eat lobster. Okay? They still eat abominable foods. Where does it say that you're supposed to eat all those things? That it's okay to eat all those things? So they're really no different than Christianity. Well, who brought you Catholicism and Christianity anyways? Amalek did. You know, a.k.a. the Roman Catholic Church. Who's the head of the Romans? Who's the mobsters? Amalek. You know? Then you have our people, the Sicilians, who... you know, really are Jakes, you know. Jake's married to Amalek, so, you know, my dad's was like a Sicilian. Now, I'm not saying he's a Sicilian descent, but either way, though, he's kingdom of Jake, you know, Brit, you know, and he goes back to the Brits, you know, the Moors. So he was married to an Amalekite. That'd be my stepmom. So I do know quite a bit, you know, but nonetheless, though, you know, you're blasphemous by saying that they're the Jews when they're not, you know. We're the real ones, you know. You know, not all of us look alike, but yet the spirit of prophecy be in us, you know. The greatest gift out of all the things to receive is this gift of prophecy, the understanding of this. Because you can see, though, that the rest of the world, they don't have this hope whatsoever. Everything's crumbling before them. They don't have the hope of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They don't even have the names thereof. You know, sweet Jesus ain't been saving anybody. Look at the dam that just bursted open earlier this week in Michigan. Walls still with uproars of the people, you know. The haircut rebellion, you know. All these rebellions are going on, and yet their God ain't answering. Their God ain't with them. Why? Because it doesn't exist. It's an idol God. Caesar Borgia is another idol, which is what Jesus is actually just affiliated with, you know. But that, like everything else, though, it's all coming to a head. And like everything else, though, we can see, though, that Babylon is falling. You know, it's been falling like a house of cards, you know, a ton of bricks. And we can see, though, that, you know, we are the ones that are blessed of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And these Edomites, man, they really want to be a part of that, you know. You already know about what happened last time I was here, you know. But thank goodness he tried to help save my son. Now, here's the funny thing about that. He really was just hustling me for a soda. You know, because the part that wasn't recorded is, and I got him a soda. You know, like I said, yeah, I'll show my enemy kindness. Of course, duh. I'm a one-man camp. And like I said, I may be eventually planted next to him. You know, because I'm going to refuse that mark of the beast. So I know that part of that will be becoming homeless, you know. So, like everything else, though, you know, still, you know, we prophesy out here. We don't take away from our testimony, but at the same time, though, you know, we got to be harmless as a dove, you know, and that was an example there. Malachi chapter 1, verse 2, I have loved you, saith the Most High, yet you say, wherein thou hast loved us. Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Most High, yet I loved Jacob. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. You know, that's coming in the form of them nuclear missiles. You know, the dragons of the wilderness are pretty much going to be the other animals, the hateful animals, this is going to be nothing but wasteland, because, the lake of fire is going to burn for a long time, which is caused by the nuclear destruction. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places, Well, you see the signs all the time if you come around Redding, we will rebuild, Redding strong. Well, I see a lot more places closing since then, Ross, they've pretty much bulldozed the parking lot there. Kmart, which used to be next to it, totally vacated building, so I don't see that it's being rebuilt. Yet I see it's even more broke than it was before, especially after the coronavirus hoax. Thus saith the Most High host, they will build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness. Hey, other forms of calling it the border of wickedness, the great Satan, other names that these other places, these other nations call it, is calling them the border of wickedness. And the people against whom the Most High hath indignation forever. Talking about your red Hebrew Edomites, so-called white people, because you're the abominable seed. There's nothing good that could come from you, but you have a job to do, and you've been doing it to deceive the nations for that short time. So all the nations were capitulates. They were all in cahoots together so that we would not remember that we were the Israelites, by saying that we're the Gentiles. And they were all had conformed together, one confederation, as they talk about in Psalm 83. And your eyes shall see, and you shall say, the Most High will be magnified from the border of Yashala, and he's magnifying us. We're that shining light. As they see that there's no hope at all whatsoever, and a lot of them are coming to realize that, they see that we're the ones that have the answers. They're not getting answers from their pedophile pastors, from their 501c3 churches. No, man, they see that we have the answers. And now you got them 501c3 churches. Some of them are actually saying that, yeah, the trumpets of Revelation are about to be blown. You got another pastor out there saying that the first trumpet of Revelation is about to be blown. Huh, that's interesting, because the trumpets of Revelation, man, who's the sounding trumpet? Who's the bugler, if you will? Who's the boogie-woogie bugle boy, if you will? Who's sounding the alarm? Who's been saying it? We have. We, the prophets, have been saying it. So we're the ones that have been blowing the trumpets for some time, letting you know of the things that's to come. Once this COVID-19 hoax started coming out and you started seeing things shut down, it's like, what have we done told you? We told you these things were going to happen. We didn't know it was going to come in the form of a pandemic. We thought maybe it would be a false flag or something. But we can see, though, that Esau has definitely used this one. A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is mine honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? Saith the Most High of hosts. Unto you, O priests that despise my name, and you say, wherein have we despised thy name? Yeah, man, those of you that took the 501c3 charter and decided, okay, well, I just want to make some money off of that. Because 2/3 of our people, man, they just want to make a quick buck. Nate, he just wants to make a quick buck, And, he tried to even say, though, that, because we all received a stimulus check, which are breadcrumbs, because we received those breadcrumbs, that's the same thing as taking a 501c3. No, it's not, because I still come out here and prophesy against Esau, Edom. And what did I do? I pretty much, most of that I didn't even spend, I only spent some of that, but the part that I spent was really just paying bills anyways. Those are breadcrumbs. You offer polluted bread upon my altar, and you say, wherein have we polluted thee? And that you say, the table of the Most High is contemptible. Well, how do you do that? By compromising it, by saying that it's okay to do this. It's okay to take the vaccine. If you have to go into a place, man, it's okay to get a vaccine. And there's other camps that do the same thing. IUIC ain't the only ones, though. But nonetheless, though, how hypocritical is that? And you offer this blind for sacrifice. Is that not evil? You take these people's money, you tell them that they have to travel over there to 1 year. That's no different than the so-called Christian church does, taking people's monies, hoarding the money. Is it not evil? Offer it now unto thy governor. Will he be pleased with thee, or accept thy person, saith the Most High of hosts? You know, again, you know, these people, man, they just want your money. When's the last time I asked you for money? Did I not just help someone out that needed a soda? Well, felt he needed a soda. Yeah, I helped him, you know. And like everything else, though, you know, sometimes you find yourself in situations. Hey, most of the Reading population is, in fact, homeless. And we know that being homeless is a part of what we may have to go through. Resisting this mark of the beast, resisting the vaccines. And now I pray you, beseech the Most High that He will be gracious unto us. This hath been by your means. Will He regard your persons, saith the Most High of hosts? But you know that He's no regarder of persons, you know. Pretty much there's only one nation that He's really dealing with. He's only dealing with the remnant of that nation. He's about to destroy that nation on this side, man. They're going to suffer the second death because they will not adhere to this word. You know, they said, let His blood be upon our hands when Yahushua was out here. So they have a judgment for that. Yeah, those people are back today. The ones that called for the crucifixion of Yahushua HaMashiach. They're back today, and they're the ones that are still against us. The scoffers, they're still here. They're just here in the reincarnation. For the rising of the sun, even unto the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. You know? So, we know that we're coming to that time that His kingdom is going down, and they can see that we have this truth. This is the beginning of Jacob rising and Esau falling. You know? So he's going to come after us, you know, like a madman, sparing none. But you have profaned it, in that you say the table of the Most High is polluted, and the fruit thereof, even His meat, is contemptible. You know? And it's dealing with the false prophets, the 2/3, you know, that don't want to adhere to this, but still want to call upon the old pagan names, Jesus, and, you know, which is not even Hebrew. That's not a Hebrew name, you know, and it's affiliated with Caesar Borgia. But you see, that's the real deal there, you know. The Most High has been setting up His strong tower, you know. And that's why, you know, we can endure like we have, you know. That this stuff that we're going through is just for a short time. You know, we've been through worse. At least that's in our mental. That, hey, I can take this, you know. Because, hey, a lot of us will be put to death for refusing the mark of the beast. Make no mistake about it. You know, He's coming having great wrath. Because He knows that He has but a short time. These chariots are popping up everywhere. That's the hope of our salvation. And 2/3 of our people are freaking out along with the Edomites, man. Talking about Martian invasion, alien invasion, because again, just like the Space Invaders games and all the video games you're growing up on, you were taught Martian landings, alien abduction. Now there is going to be an abduction, a gathering. Cosmic Ark video game in particularly shows you the gathering. You know, when he starts beaming people up. Then they made another one called Defender. And Defender, you have to stop the chariots from picking up the people, which are our people being picked up, being rescued, delivered from this place, while the nuclear destruction's coming, and those chariots will have firepower. And Esau will try to come with the Space Force to fight. Yeah, you've been hearing a lot of talks about the Space Force, you know, and that's the new branch. You know, even Magog will be a part of the Space Force. You know, but in particularly Babylon is the one that has that Space Force. They're going to try to fight the Most High and the angels. Because even Chris Green had seen a vision of it. He had seen the flying hovercraft. You know, that was as large as the size of the continent. It was in the mid-afternoon. He actually gave you times and all that. Now, it didn't happen between April 20 and 22. It didn't happen around that time. Now, does that mean that he didn't see the vision? No, I think he saw the vision. But, you know, he believes that that's the Antichrist. Because, of course, it goes against their Christ, which their Christ is the false one. So, of course, they'll say it's Antichrist. But you see, that's just it. Our people have been hoodwinked into believing in this image because it was beaten out of us. You know? Been beaten out of us. And a lot of people, yes, they have that Stockholm Syndrome. Man, they want just everything to feel good, you know? Because they have the strong delusion, you know, when they go to them 501c3 churches and they're singing, "Oh, happy day," you know, and starting to feel good. That's really all these places are. It's really no different than going to a psychiatrist to make you feel good about yourself than stupid self-help tapes that people listen to. That's all that the 501c3 church is a self-help tape. How to feel good about yourself even though you're fucking wicked as fuck. How you can feel good because you've been saved, because you can still do your wickedness and just call upon the name Jesus and you'll be saved. And our people fall for that every time, which it makes no sense whatsoever. So you're saying you can be wicked as fuck, but as long as you called upon the name of Jesus before you died, you're going to be spared and go to heaven? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Now, you have a time and a place, and everything you do, your name's going to be written upon those things. So if you're a wicked person, or guess what? You're going to die a wicked person. Doesn't matter whether you called upon the name Jesus before you died. If all you did throughout your whole life is nothing but wickedness, but you show no repentance, that's what you're going to be called by. Now, that being said, though, this truth is really only for the Israelites. That's the other thing that the rest of the nations can't get around, is that salvation is only for the nation of Yasharahla. The only people that are going to be beamed up, even though, yes, a lot of us look like the other nations, but the only people that are going to be beamed up and escaping this destruction are the Israelites. This rapture deception, they think that, okay, well, sweet Jesus is just going to save them, and then everybody else is going to go through 7 years of hell, and they always bring up Benjamin not a Jew, and the, Amalekites having a negotiation with Palestine, the peace treaty, and then the 7 years, with that, he'll sign a peace treaty, when all this stuff had already taken place years ago, 70 AD. First Maccabees goes into that, the time that Jerusalem was captured. They didn't want you to know anything about that. That's why they had the Bible destruction book taking out the Apocrypha. Especially 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 16, because now we're starting to see that. The sedition among men. People not having any regard for the kings nor princes. Which really backs up Isaiah 19. And pretty much we're seeing uproars, uprisings everywhere, the haircut rebellion, it's kind of laughable in many ways, but again, we're seeing though that pretty much this kingdom that's divided against itself is not going to stand for much longer. We can see though that that's exactly how Pharaoh was brought down, so that's why it was often referred to as the second Egypt, the place of Sodom and Egypt spiritually, where our power was crucified. And how was our power crucified? Because it was beaten out of us. So therefore, we were no longer calling upon our power, and the name Yasharahla was remembered no more. We didn't know we was Israelites anymore after a while. So you can see, though, that very much so, this is the place of Sodom and Egypt spiritually. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Most High rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt. You're seeing all these clouds everywhere. That's another metaphor for the chariots, that are up in the skies that people think is an alien invasion. The Martians landing. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. By way of that nuclear destruction, though. When they see these chariots popping up, for real, and you're hearing the sirens blasting and people killing each other on the streets, kind of like you dropped a bomb on me long version, all this is happening in the hour of the destruction. Yeah, the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it, because this whole place is going to be destroyed by fire. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, happening now. The haircut rebellion, just like the whiskey rebellion, and shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Beginning to happen now, but it's going to get even worse, though, where people are going to be breaking in your houses, just like 2nd Ezra chapter 15 tells you. And I wish that I had an app on here for that, because I would read that, but Isaiah 19 backs it. And the spirit of Egypt shall melt in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. Pretty much, man, all these leaders and all that, they're going to be destroyed and consumed by this fire. They shall seek to their idols and to the charmers. Again, man, they're going to be looking to the news and all that to help guide them through this. Yeah, man, they're just going to continue to be deceived. People love to look to the charmers, They that's why they go to the 501c3 church. That's why they turn on their television. They just want to hear good news. Did you notice that it's bad news and it's all propaganda, CDC run? And to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards, man. And there ain't nothing respectable about somebody who works for the news station, man. They ain't nothing but government spokesmen, yeah. You know, they just have a license from the government to get on there to tell you what the government wants you to do. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hands of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over him, say the Most High of hosts. You know, you got your Donald Trumps, you got your fuck Gavins, you got your fuck Whitmers, your fuck Cuomos. You know, all these fucks don't care about you, man. They got their millions, and they're still getting their millions. They're the ones that are getting the bailouts. They're the ones that are going on vacation while you're struggling to pay your bills. You know, they gave you a few breadcrumbs so you wouldn't see the laundering of money that they done. You wouldn't see that they just stuck their dick in your mouth and you thanked them for it. All these people holding up thank you signs, thank you to the healthcare workers, thank you for this, thank you for that. They just stuck their dick in your mouth and you thanked them for it. You know, that's what it really is. Hey, Negan couldn't have said it better on The Walking Dead, you know? They're laughing at you, man. They just stuck their dick in your mouth and you thanked them for it. That's how dumb you people are, man. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the rivers shall be wasted and dried up. You know, you're seeing droughts, you know, because of these famines. You're seeing all kinds of things, you know. And like everything else, though, famine's a big-time part of this drought. And they shall turn the rivers away, and the brooks of the defense shall be emptied and dried up. The reeds and flags shall wither, you know. People ain't got that hope anymore. The fishers will mourn. Yeah, man. Because there's nothing anymore. They're shutting down the meat processing plants. They are shutting down farms. All over a hoax. While the banksters, the 1%, took all the money. And you thanked them for it, you know. You sheeple that go around, you know, wearing your masks and all that, like that's really going to protect you. Ah, man, the Most High ain't dealing with you. Sweet Jesus ain't coming to save you. Nah, man, you're just waiting to die. You know? And if you're scared of a virus, which is hilarious because you're more afraid of a virus, which everybody gets the flu, and some people do die of a flu. And that's because they didn't have any immune system, because they constantly hand sanitized, they constantly, you know, took vaccines, they constantly took pills, antibiotics, so they killed all their cells to where a virus comes along and you have no defense against it, you know? You don't have any immunity, you know? And that's the other big one that they want to create out of this, is the herd immunities, you know? That's why HR 6666 is out there, because of course to create that herd immunity. You listen very closely to what fuck Gavin says. He wanted to create herd immunities. Well, what do you think Marcet is? What do you think Ventura is? Think about it. Those are herd immunities. So you're seeing it come into fruition. Herd immunity is eventually going to be other cities, you know. Those are some of them. Hey, what do you think the Strong Cities Network was really about? All about the UN agenda, especially San Bernardino and other places. So don't be surprised if they pop up in the news soon, you know, that the herd immunity is San Bernardino. You know, because, again, that's what they want, you know. They eventually want to herd everybody. That's why HR 6666, which they're not going to even talk about it, you know. Snopes, they'll tell you it doesn't exist. But Snopes is always there to debunk what's out there. Though you can type in HR 6666, and you can see that as of May 1st, that's when it came into petition. You know, it's a bill that's being petitioned. Now, nobody's really signed off on it, but the fact that it's there, and that's on a government page, so how can Snopes say that it doesn't exist when it's right there? You know? Okay, it hasn't passed yet, but they're still doing it, so it doesn't matter. Just the fact that that legislature's out there is proof enough. But people don't want to hear this when you bring out these facts. No, they'd rather, you know, before we got rid of Facebook, you know, I remember trying to post information, you know, and then people just constantly say Snopes, 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 you know, to debunk it. It's like, all right, fine, you don't want to hear it, but this is what's really happening, you know. But you see, that's just it, though. The sheeple, man, they're all led. And that's when I found out how much stupid people are there, just right before I came to this truth, man. I eventually got off of fake book and all that. It's like, man, fuck you all, you know? So, you know, that's why I learned as I found Great Millstone, and this truth found me. I mean, pretty much, though, you know, I received this truth when I heard it, you know? And this word has gone out, you know? What did I do when I received this truth? Like, I need to get right. And I need to back them when I saw the prophets on the streets of GMS Toronto. Well, I knew I'd never make it to Toronto, but eventually I made my way to San Francisco. And hey, I met Elder Zakan, as well as Canuck and a whole bunch of prophets there, you know? Even though it was 4 hours of my life, man, it was so much fulfillment being there amongst the brothers, though. It's like, wow, I haven't seen y'all in a really long time. I actually felt that, you know. This is what's been missing. I've been away from Jerusalem for far too long. I've been away from my people for far too long. Brought up in this bliss, not knowing who I was. Brought up, you know, thinking that I'm just a Gentile. When in fact I've been an Israelite all along. But you see, once I learned how real wicked this government is, I'm like, no, I ain't a part of that. I always felt something different. I always felt like, okay, I don't fit in. I just don't fit in. They tried to send me to psychiatrists and shit, you know, because I wouldn't fit in. I didn't get along. I didn't, you know, I could only relate to certain people, man. And most of the people I related to were Jakes, you know. I didn't want to hang out with a bully, you know, the toughest person. But what is funny, though, is quite a few of our Jakes were strong people, too, man. Nah, man, you couldn't keep us down. But you see, that's just it, though. Esau's a bully, and I don't relate to them bullies, you know. And it's kind of funny, though, because they try to say in one hand that, oh, we should all just love each other, you know, that God loves everybody, but at the same time, that's not what they've shown. Nah, they've shown their perpetual hatred towards us and towards anyone else that's different. So you hear the rhetoric of Donald J. Trump saying the Chinese virus, the Wuhan virus, you know, and people now are conditioned to hate Moabites, you know, to hate them because they think that the Chinese spread it because they listen to the rhetoric of that. That's just how easy it is to start playing that symphony, you know, and this symphony of destruction, man. Nah, man. It was Esau Edom that created the coronavirus hoax. And if you listen to what they're saying in the Chinese language, especially there in Wuhan, they're telling you in their own tongue, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake. You know? Of course it's fake. This was really about subjugating everybody to pretty much be in control. They wanted a one world government and a digital wallet and digital dollar, which is what they had. You know, they gradually brought China into it by getting rid of cash. You know, cash became very unpopular there, so they were using their phones and their QR codes because they were one of the first places to be tested. And then you got Sweden also, where people, most people have the microchip already, you know, and they use it to do everything. You know, those are two of the main places, but people have been conditioned, though, because Esau's always had a perpetual hatred, you know, and now he tried to use his charmers, his media, to say that, well, it's mostly Jake that be getting it. And you got our people going around wearing the masks like that's going to protect him. Now, man, don't you know that this man's the devil? That he's out there to kill you, but you want to hang out with him. You just want to be accepted by him. You want to hang out in his places. Now, I can remember some stories my dad told me about them places when we was still segregated. He says, man, I just didn't feel like hanging out on the white side, you know. Yeah, he looked like me, you know, but he didn't feel like hanging out there. Nah, he'd go across the street where the blacks were in Mississippi, man. And he went where it's happening in Natchez, man. He went to them bars. He even got to see B.B. King there in his younger years, you know, playing, man. And they were having a good old time because our people generally are happy people, you know. We're a happening people, you know. We bring that joy and happiness to everyone, you know. And that's just it, though, you know. That little kindness that I showed for the last person that came up here, you know, he helped me with my sign. That's the first act of kindness he did for me. He helped me with my sign. I retaped that so the wind won't blow it because the wind was pretty strong that day. You know, but he was helping me with the site. He's just like, he was really just troubling me for a soda. So yeah, well, thank you for helping me for my site. You know, I did it my own way. You know, and he, you know what he also said, even though that wasn't on camera? He says, you know, I'm really grateful that you bring out the word, you know, people, need to hear this. Very similar to what happened with Elder Zakan, man. You know, someone else, you know, it was a Jake that handed him money, you know, says, yes, the people need to hear this, you know. So he actually commended me. I didn't stop teaching just because he was there. I let him get in his few words. But I still continued to teach out of Habakkuk chapter 2, even though what he said really didn't make a lot of sense. But you see, that's just it, though. Babylon means confusion. And, man, the Edomites, man, they've been confused for a very long time because, of course, man, they're not told that they're Edomites, for one. And so they just have all these thoughts, you know, these thoughts just run wild and all that, you know. And what did he say, though? That if he was running everything and all that, you know, he'd make it equal for everyone, you know, to where, okay, if the rich wanted this, you know, they could have this, but everybody else would get a piece of that pie too, you know. There wouldn't just be all these certain people benefiting, you know, and there would be no hunger or homelessness. He knows that he could do a better job than what's there, you know. Well, that's just it, though. Amalek, which is the head tribe of Esau Edom, you know, doesn't care. You know, and so we can see, though, that the Edomites suffer under Amalek's rule, you know, under their rule, you know. And they're all getting to think, you know, I could do a better job. That's why a lot of people are petitioning for the arrest of Bill Gates. That's why a lot of people are not going to take a vaccine, you know. You have them Bible Belt states. They're not going to take the mark of the beast. Just there in Austin, about a month and a half ago, they said, we will not take the mark of the beast. And they had signs up. So they know what the mark of the beast is. So if they know what the mark of the beast is, why do 2/3 of our people not act like they don't know what the mark of the beast is? You know, well, that's because you got bootleg camps. But you see, they've been given over to a strong delusion that they should believe a lie, you know. So, you know, they're told that it's an embargo, that's Christianity. When really, truly, though, Christianity doesn't cause everyone to receive a mark. Nope. Christianity is not a mark. Christianity is just a belief system. You know? But that's just it, though, is they try to play around with the words. No different than what the Edomites do. You know, the Edomites have been catfishing us with that image of Caesar Borgia for so long, catfishing us with these other concepts they bring out. Oh, you're supposed to love everyone, you know, when, you know, you love thy neighbor as thyself. But, you know, their breakdown is that you just love everyone. No, that's not what it's dealing with. Love thy neighbor as thyself is really dealing with love your Israelite neighbor. We're still a holy people, a separate people, because that's what it is to be holy. So we're separate from the rest of the world, and that's just it, though. Is Esau wants to be us so bad. You know, remember at the very beginning, he says, well, I believe I'm that guy. You know, Esau wants to be us so bad. It's because we have the answers, you see. We have the answers, and he wants a part of it, you know. He's like, yes, I want the promise of a new heaven and new earth. I want to be saved. I want this. But it's only for Israel. Salvation are for Israelites only. You know? Got good news and bad news. It's good news for those that repent and come to this word. Well, your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. You're going to be spared from the second death. Yes, you're going to go through your tribulation. And yes, you may still die refusing the mark of the beast, but the dead in Yahweh Shai shall rise first. So you're even covered from that. Because really it just means, okay, actually, it's a blessing to be taken out before the destruction that comes. It's a blessing. You know how happy I am that my father died 8 years ago? I never thought I'd say that. You know, because I miss him a lot. I miss him terribly. Actually, 9 years ago now. You know how happy I am that he didn't have to see all this? To continue in this? That he didn't have to deal with all the things that are going on? So yeah, it was a blessing that my father was taken out before all this came. You know, but it's also a blessing to see the destruction come. You know, so sometimes it can be more of a blessing to die for this faith. Now, my dad didn't know, and I didn't know at that time. But you see, after all that, then I started coming to this truth. You know, and that's just it, though. Is the people that won't come to this truth, you got to let them go. You got to let them die. You got to just say, hey, this wasn't for you, but I'll see you on the other side. There's a new heaven and a new earth coming, and things will be restored. And when you come back, you'll have that full restoration. A restoration is coming. We're at the end of Esau, Edom, and the beginning of Jacob that followeth afterward. That's another thing that's in the Apocrypha. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it afterward. And that's what they really think that they can take from us, but they can't take away these prophecies. And for that, you know, we're going to keep on proclaiming our heritage and steadfast, blowing the trumpet. For that, I want to say, Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, Wa Abad Babal. Brakatung Jehovah Lud. Shalom.